going to start by a little heel toe walk, okay? So literally going up onto the toes and then down onto the heels. So it's like walking on the spot. So I know I normally do like this really static kind of setup and warm up, but we're going to do it whilst we're walking today. So we're walking on the spot, so you're literally going up on your toes and then pushing your heel down. So just pedaling through your heels. So then just go up the body. So then take in the pelvic floor and pull in, right? So we're moving in this, we're walking on the spot. I don't know, like I'm not going anywhere, right? I'm just like walking, pushing down my heels. So then pull in pelvic floor, pull in TBA, tuck the pelvis under, okay? So notice whilst you're walking, whether you're sticking out your bum and whether you're arching your lower back, and then just tuck that all in. So walking on the spot, pelvic floor in, TBA pulled in, like that corset, tummy button pulled back to the spine, pelvis tucked under. Get that lift on the rib cage, but still pulling in the core. Take the shoulders down and back. Find the length at the back of the neck. So keep the movement on the ankles here. So this is kind of like release through the ankles and the calves, right? Keep it going. We're going to pull in pelvic floor, pull in TBA. So I normally do this standing still. Pull in, we're going to hold 6 seconds, and then we're going to do a slow release. But I'm going to keep you moving and keep you walking. So ready, pelvic floor, TBA. Pulling in, 100%. Now just check you're not holding your breath. 5, 6, slow release. Then go again, pelvic floor, pull in 100%, TBA pull in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, check you're not holding your breath. 2 more, pelvic floor, pull in, TBA pull in. Keep this like steady walking going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, slow release. Are you finding this harder than normal, like in the static? Because I'm kind of feeling it more. I don't know how you feel. 1 more, pelvic floor in, TBA pulled in 100%. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take a slow release. Just steady the heels now down towards the floor. Scrunch up the toes. Lift up the arches. And then we're going to go just to some of our normal stuff. So lift the arm up level with the shoulder. Take the ear down to the shoulder. Reach out to the side for your shoulder glide. Take that up towards the ceiling. Hand on hip. Over for that side bend. And release. Other side lift. Ear down to shoulder, neck release. Shoulder glider out to the side. Recenter, lift. Reaching up. Take it all the way over, hand on hip, side bend. And release. And again then, so it's lift. Ear down to shoulder. See if you can get it and rest it on that shoulder. And then shoulder glide, reach out to the side. Pulling in pelvic floor, pull in TBA. Pulling in, lift. Taking it all the way over, side bend. This time release that lower hand. And just let that arm go really floppy and circle. Other way around. And release. Other side. I'm doing a little bit slower because some people are freezing a little bit. I don't know if my signal's not good. Ear down to shoulder. Just rest it there for a second. Pull in pelvic floor, pull in TBA. Shoulder glide. Recenter lift. Take it all the way over, side bend, and then take your circles. So that bottom arm just goes really floppy. Circling other way around. And then release. 1 more each side, so it's lift. And shoulder glide it. Going a little bit faster now. Recenter it, pull in that core. Take it all the way over. Let that bottom arm just relax. Or if you want a little bit more intensity, take it all the way up, join the top arm. It's a really full side bend. 2 deep breaths. And release. Last one, lift. Ear down and reach. Pull in that TVA, pull in that pelvic floor, lift. Take it all the way over on that side bend. Either that bottom arm just totally goes really floppy in circles, or maybe you like the full side stretch. And you can really pull on the fingertips on that one too. 2 deep breaths. Still working with the pelvic floor and the TVA. And then just slowly release. So from there, into those scapula. So take those shoulders down and back, palms up level, just palms up, elbows tucked in. Breathing out, take the thumbs back, and then bring it back to center. So scapula set, keep the shoulders down and back. Check that your elbows are in line with your body. So elbows in line with the body. They're not drawing back or they're not drawing forwards. The train's about to go by, oh God. Get ready, train's gonna go. So I'm going to give you a different move on this one now. One hand, take your scapula set, and the other hand on hip. Then bring it, it's almost like a teapot, right? So one arm doing the scapula set, drive the thumb back, and the other hand on the hip. So just isolate, working with that one shoulder, and see if you can just kind of feel that rotation around that shoulder. Pull in pelvic floor, pull in TVA. One more. And then we're going to go on the other side. So one arm on that scapula set, shoulders are down and back, and the other hand on your hips. It's like a teapot. Check the pelvic floor, TVA is pulled in. You're not kind of tilting the one shoulder down on that, so keep your shoulders nice and square. Keep the knees soft, scrunching up the toes. Last one. And then release. So interlink the fingers, so just interlinking the fingers. I'm not sure why my screen is flashing then. So interlink your fingers. And then you're just going to push the palms away, lift the arms up over the head so the arms go around the ears. And then bring the palms so they face you, and then bring that all the way back down. So it's almost like a chest and a shoulder stretch this. Take the palms away, take that up over the head, and you can always take the eye gaze slightly up, then palms facing you, bring it back down, and then you can round through the shoulders, space between the shoulder blades. So palms away, lifting that up, so if you can get your arms around your ears, and then palms facing you, bring it back down. So it's kind of like, it's almost like your cat to cow that we do on all fours, but standing up. And I just want you to now think about what your hips, your pelvis is doing. So as you push and your palms are way up towards the ceiling, are you arching the lower back? So then just take that focus, tuck the pelvis under, pull in pelvic floor, pull in TVA. Keep it neutral for this. And then go again. So thinking about what the hips and the pelvis is doing in alignment with the upper body and the shoulders. Breathing in, lifting up, 2 more. Breathing out, space between the shoulder blades. Last one. Ready for some of those roll downs. We're going to start with circle the arms down and around, all the way up towards the ceiling. Maybe eye gaze up. Breathing out, circle that back round, slide the hands down the legs, keep the knees nicely soft and bent, and then slowly uncurl. Reaching up, looking up as well if you want to. Slide the hands down, it's the release for the lower back. Feet hip width. Arches underneath the feet. Should get that good release for the lower back. Maybe each time you get a little bit further. I'm going to add in a little bit of this. So from the position where you're going down to the mat, slide the hands up towards your shins and see if you can do a flat back position. So almost like your back becomes a table. Try and get your crown of your head going forwards. Chin goes towards chest slightly. Shoulders are down away from ears. So it's this flat back. Breathing out, slide it back down so your fingertips touch the floor and then uncurl all the way back up. So we'll do a couple more of those. Breathe out, slide the hands down the legs all the way down to the floor. Then slide up to the shins or maybe a little bit higher, whichever one, wherever you're at. Find your flat back, shoulders down away from ears. Still working with the core, pelvic floor, TBA. Breathing out, slide the hands back down to the mat and then uncurl all the way. We're going last one of those, so all the way down towards the floor. Half lift. Really good for posture this. Take the shoulders down away from the ears, flat back. All the way down, slowly uncurl all the way back up. Should be starting to feel a little bit of space in the body. Now we're going to go for some squats next. So 10 just plain normal squats, so feet maybe a little bit wider than hip width, facing forward, scrunch up your toes, lift up the arches. Bend the knees, take the hips back in space, squeeze the glutes, drive the hips forwards and rise. Hips go back, put in the core, squeeze the glutes, drive the hips forwards and up. Again, like releasing lower back with squats is like a really good vital move. It's a good one. Notice what your knees are doing, what your feet are doing. So try not to kind of take the weight over your toes, sit the weight back over your heels. Check your knees don't pronate in. Maybe have a little think it's like one glute firing, maybe quicker or stronger than the other. How balanced are you? Three more, maybe a little bit lower. Still squeezing those glutes on the rise. Last one. Try not to look down, looking forwards. Breathe in to rise. Brilliant. So the next one's a bit of a balance. We're going to combine a calf raise. So transfer the weight onto the left foot then. Gently just lifting up that left heel. So we've been doing calf raises every week pretty much. Then place the heel back down and then take the right foot back, reach forwards. So we're going to calf raise, lifting left heel, squeeze that left glute, place it back down, and then go into the balance. Reach the arms forwards, drive the right foot back. Now we're going to go for 10 of these, but I'm going to add in. So adding in for the calf raise if you want, drive up the right knee. So running, kind of walking, got that opposite leg action going on. And then when you reach forwards, maybe you can try and touch opposite hands, so right hand down towards left foot. So just a few progressions if you want to work them. So on the calf raise, drive the opposite knee up, squeezing that left glute. On the kickback, reach down opposite hand towards opposite foot. So we're working through 10. Calf raise, lift. Check that pelvic floor is engaged. TBA kind of automatically is going to have to work just to get the balance. The main mover here is your glutes. So check those glutes are firing, especially on that calf raise. Spreading the fingers, so even the fingertips here are kind of working with the balance. I'm on 2 more. I don't know where you're at. My last one. Maybe a little bit of a shake out after that, because then we're going to switch sides. So when you're ready then, just get the weight transferred over onto the right foot, and all you're going to do is lift up that right heel, pull in pelvic floor, squeeze the right glutes, lower it down, reach the hands forwards, drive that left foot back. And what you're going to find is when the left foot drives back, the left glute fires for that. So right glute fires on your calf lift. Maybe you're going to add in that drive. And then as the left foot kicks back, left glute fires. You can always hold on to the wall, right? You can always hold on to something. Into your calf raise and your reach. Kind of quite complicated move. A lot of other things going on in there. Adding in that little reach down, opposite fingers to go down towards the mat just in front. Into the drive, pelvic floor, glute engaged. Reach down. And like one little thing I just noticed then is when I'm doing my reach downs, my other arm, my elbow drives back. Because it's all kind of like really slow. What we're working on here is really slow, exaggerated firing of the muscles that would almost be in running or walking, right? Keep focusing on glutes and pelvic floor. I'm on 3 left. Try not to hold the breath. Woo. Last one for me. Release a bit of a shake, and we're doing a little hip circle here. So just drawing a circle with the hips. It's kind of a nice way to release the glutes. I don't know why my screen's flashing. I don't know if it's... Is it flashing for anybody else? Maybe thumbs up to me if it's flashing. It is. Oh. I don't know why. I circle the other way round. Maybe my camera is unhappy. I'll try that. I don't know. Is it annoying you guys? Is it okay? Okay, so from there we're going to come down to downward dog. So meet me down in downward dog. Looks like the light. Okay, thanks Joe. So everyone meet me down and down, find yourself down to downward dog. I think I fixed it. And go back to what we did in the first bit of our warm-up, just heel toe. So just stretching out those calf muscles. Head in between your arms, spread your fingers, spiral the biceps towards each other. Take some deep breaths here, chest towards your thighs, hips going up towards the ceiling. If you don't do downward dog very often, maybe you feel a little bit tight, just takes a moment to get the space there in your... If like me you're wearing socks, you're slipping on the mat. Might have to take your socks off. Okay, we're going to add a little bit to this. If it's a bit too much, just take it down to hands and knees. We're lifting one leg up towards the ceiling and then take the knee out to the side and bring it all the way back down. It's that going over the style move that we've done a few times. So we're circling, bending that knee, lift, circling it all the way around. Just a bit of hip mobility and also a nice stretch on the hamstring, the calf muscle on the other leg. Circling, just one more, lift, take that knee out to the side, circling it round. Step that foot forwards, lift up to your high lunge. Hip flexor stretch, just check you're on a hip width here. Pushing back through that back heel. Interlink the fingers. And let's just go for a shoulder squeeze, so squeeze those shoulders together. See if you can even touch the inside of the wrists together. Take some deep breaths here. You can almost drive those fists going down the back body. So remember last week we did our tricep stretch, so whichever foot that you've got in front, lifting up that arm on that side. So I've got my right foot forwards, right arm's lifted. And then I'm going to slide my left thumb up my spine, and I'm going to see if I can do for my tricep bind. I don't know if anyone's been practicing. And again, just taking some nice deep breaths. If you can't find the bind, just go for the tricep stretch. And perhaps you're feeling that hip flexor stretch now. Step that back foot forwards, push down the back heel. So just a simple calf stretch. So we're just on a nice long stride. And then just gently, so again, whichever foot you've got behind you, the same side, lift at that arm. So my left foot's back, pushing that left heel down. My left arm's going to go up and over for that hip flexor stretch. Taking a deep breath. So step back to that lunge, bring your hands down. Step back to downward dog. And then we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. So we started off with the leg lift. So my left leg's going to lift. I'm going to bend. I'm going to bring that round to the side, like going around the style move we've done before. I'm going to lift. So just working into those hips. Don't forget to breathe. It's kind of a lot of upper body strength work into the downward dog too, right? So lift, take it out, round. Last one, maybe you're feeling that stretch on the calf muscle. Step that forwards into that high lunge. Check you're on that hip width position, push down through that back heel. Interlink those fingers behind, squeeze those shoulder blades together once more. Find the pelvic floor, pull in that TVA. Take the hands down towards the mat. So from there I'm into that tricep bind. So for me it's my left hand lifting, so my left foot's in front. My right thumb's going to go up the spine. So whichever foot you've got in front, lift that arm. See if you can get yourself into your tricep bind that we did last week. Take some deep breaths, just filling the chest out with air. Eye gaze lift and to take it forwards. Pushing down that back heel. Feel the hip flexor stretch. Then just walk that foot forward slightly into your calf stretch. So you're just in that nice stride position, pushing down that back heel. And then just drawing up the arm, take it all the way over. Hip flexor stretch. So whichever foot you've got back, lift that arm, other hand on the hip. Show you this way too, right? So you almost get a little bit of a side bend into that calf stretch. Just a really nice way of putting a little bit of space into the body. So from there, come down to downward dog, step it back. Just lift up the hips. One last time, hips going up towards the ceiling. Head in between arms. Bending the knees, going to bring that down onto all fours. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. It's a little bit different today. Normally I give you a straight leg and a straight arm, kind of lift. This time we're going to go pull in pelvic floor and pull in TBA neutral spine. Touch opposite hands, opposite knee, and then extend. So it's a touch, I'm going to go for 8 on each side, and then it's an extend. Touch, extend. Now if you want a bit more of a challenge, just lift up the resting foot. So the point of contact is the knee and the hand. A little bit of cross body work because you're bringing that hand across the midline and the knee. So it's a little bit more challenging like this. Eye gaze towards the front of the mat. And just see now if you can breathe out into those extensions. Notice if that arm's getting up level with the shoulder. So really work the height on that arm. For me, one more. Then ready to switch sides. So first, maybe try a couple without lifting the foot, then it's just that touch the knee, extend. And you should feel the glute firing in this. So just that little that drift across the midline is enough to test the balance. Adding in, lifting up that foot. Breathe out onto your extensions. Squeeze the glutes. Lifting that arm up level with the shoulder. Leg level with the hips. 3 more for me. Try not to pelvic tilt arch the lower back, so keep that pelvic floor in, that TBA in. My last one. And extend. So from there, I'm just going to give you a little stretch. So tuck the toes under and see if you can sit back onto your heels. So this is a stretch for the arches underneath the feet. But this also connects to your meridian lines that run through your body. This actually comes up and connects, the frontal line connects to the lungs. So take a moment in this stretch, check that your little toes are tucked under as well. And go back to that thing we did in the warm-up. So interlink the fingers and push the palms away. Then take that up over the head. So the arms are around the ears. Then take the palms to face you and find some space in the shoulder blades. And then again, so you might get a quad stretch in here as well. Just 4 of these. Lift, maybe take the eye gaze slightly up. And then palms facing you, bring it down. Kind of quite intense stretch on the feet, I know. Just strengthen them too. Lift. Bring it back down. Last one. Arms around the ears. And bring it back down. From there, then coming all the way down onto your fronts. It's quite a nice release once you've done that on your toes. And we're going to go for our swan dive. So cactus your arms off the mat. Elbows level with your shoulders. Hands are level with your elbows. Forehead down on the mat. Breathing out, lift head and shoulders. Looking down. Breathing in low. Connect with that pelvic floor, that TBA. Breathing out there, thinking about that crown chakra, so the very top of your head. Shines forwards. Try and keep that chin down towards the chest. Adding in if you wish, breathing out, lifting. Elbows, hands, arms are lifting and lower. Really work with the connection here on that pelvic floor, so really check you're connected in the TBA. A little bit more if you want it. Breathing out, lift, breathing in, breathing out, extend, reach forwards. Back to that cactus and lower. Lift and extend. Cactus. Lower, still connecting with the pelvic floor. 2 more. Try not to hold the breath. Last one. Breathing out left. We're really working into those extensions. And lower. Press back up into all fours. Just cat stretch that one out. So lifting the top of the back, tuck your tummy in, chin to chest, get that space between the shoulder blades. Just going to do a little quad stretch. So just step the left foot forward, low lunge. Right arm, take it all the way over like a rainbow. And then just see if you might want to hold on to something. See if you can take hold of your right foot. Notice what happens in your hips when you did that, right? Are they tilting? So square out your hips so they're facing the front of your mat. Now try and tuck your pelvis under. So pull in pelvic floor, pull in TBA. And then you should feel that real, it's kind of a quad stretch and a hip flexor stretch. Eye gaze going forwards, and if you want to add in a little mudra, take the middle finger with the thumb, so there's a little circle, middle finger and thumb, and this one is the Shuni mudra, and you can just either rest that on your knee or lift it forwards, and that mudra is for space in the body and patience. Just take a couple more breaths on this stretch. So you should feel it on the front bit of the quad, right? Slowly releasing, and then we're going to move to the other side. So start with the low lunge. And it's a balance too. When we've started into the lift, take the left arm all the way around and back. See if you can hold on to the left foot. Just the front bit of the foot. Pull in pelvic floor, pull in TBA, square out the hips. Notice if they're tilting. Put in the mudra if you like that. Middle finger, thumb. A little bit of pressure on each other. Taking a couple of deep breaths, eye gaze forwards. Shoulders back. It's kind of intense, right? It's actually quite it's quite a hard one. I can see some people having a bit of fun. Slowly release out of that then, and we're going to come down to the front leg pull. So elbows underneath shoulders. And first of all, just pelvic floor in, TBA in, and lifting up the hips. Knees down if you want to, however you like, whatever you feel comfortable with. And think about tuck the pelvis under, pulling in that core. If you want a little bit more, one leg lift. Place it back down, keep the hips super still, other leg lift. I'm not going for like super high leg lifts, just kind of challenging balanced leg lifts. So just straightening the leg. Notice what's happening in the hips. You want to keep them nice and still. Squeeze the glutes. It's all about those connections again. Keep working with the pelvic floor and the TVA. 4 more if you're leg lifting, otherwise you're just really working on that pulling in, that squeezing. Thinking about the crown of the head, driving forwards. Lowering it all the way back down. We'll have a 10-second rest. Then we'll go back up. Hiya. Got some people walking by. Wondering what I'm doing probably. Okay, we're going to go again. Pelvic floor in, TVA, and lifting up the hips. So this time if you want a little bit more, straightening one leg, straightening the other leg into that full plank position. Notice if you're kind of like clenching your jaw or your fists. Try and relax the face, the muscles in the face, the eyebrows. Think pelvic floor, think TVA, tuck the pelvis under so we're not arching the lower back. A little bit more of a challenge if you want it. Just step one foot off the mat. Step it back. The other foot off the mat. Step it back. Just a little side step. Again, just challenging that stability. Side step. And back. Keep focusing pelvic floor, TVA. Try not to hold the breath. 4 more. Tuck that pelvis under, don't arch the lower back. And breathe. Last one. Lower the hips down, take a 10-second rest. Just gonna do one more. Taking some deep breaths. Ready to go again then, pelvic floor in, TVA in. Lifting up the hips. So this is your first leg, you might want to stick with that one. If you want a little bit more, straightening one leg, straighten the other leg. We're going for a hip drop. You can do this with your knees down as well if you prefer. So let the hips drop over to the side of the mat. Recenter. Over to the side of the mat. Recenter. Breathing out, drop. Breathing in, recenter. Always gets harder when you start putting those little twists and things. 4 more. Breathing out. 2 left. You can always do this with your knees down. Bring the knees down then, let the hips go down. You're going to sit back towards your child's pose. Bring your diamond shape, so your index fingers join, thumbs join, place your diamond on the mat. Bring your forehead down to meet the mat. Send the breath to the lower back. Just taking some really deep breaths, 3 more. How are we doing for time? Let's just check. How are we doing? Okay. A little bit of kind of hip work here then. So just sit facing the front with your knees bent, knees, feet hip width apart. And what we're going to do is let the knees drop across to one side. And it's nice little work here with the shoulders and the triceps. So bring it back up to center, over to the other side. So quite nice if you're a little bit tight in your hips. Lifting it up, breathing out over to the other side. Puts a nice little gentle twist into the body. And then lift, and then drop. See if you can keep your shoulders kind of down away from your ears as well, so it's quite nice. You get a nice little stretch there on the back of your arms and your shoulders. So adding in, you let them drop and then you take the threading through. So take the top hand, thread it underneath the bottom arm. So you lift, you let it drop, and it's the threading. We've done it a few times. Bring this lovely twist through the body. Kind of gets this lovely little stretch on the liver, actually. Helps with the toxins. Reach. Dropping through. Just take your time. Breathing out as you thread and twist. Still connecting, pelvic floor, TVA. Just do 2 more. And then just picking a side, going to do a little bit of work with our clams. So bending the knees, lift your heels up after the level with your hips. And so that front hip, that top hip is over the over the front of over the top of the bottom hip. Lift the top knee and lower. Find pelvic floor, find TBA and pull in. We're going to add into this. So just get it going and feel the glute med. So down and around the side, the back of the bum. Check you don't lose that TBA. Sometimes we go on our side, we lose that TBA. One more, and then just squeeze and hold as high as you can, that knee nice and high. Then we're going to extend, straighten the leg, and bend it back to where it was. So keep it nice and steady, pelvic floor pulled in, TBA pulled in, extend, lots of control, and then bring it back down. And extend, bring it back. One more, extend and hold. Then go back to those grapefruits. So really, we did them last week when we were on melons. Small circles the size of a grapefruit with that foot. You're going to feel that now in your glute med, maybe a little bit around the hips. 4 one way, 4 the other. Really slow on these circles. Slow motion, controlled. Last one, then just hug that knee into the chest. A little bit of a release. Then we're just going to switch sides. So whichever way you like. That wasn't a planned transition, that one. Lift the heels up level with the hips. Check the top hips over the front of the bottom hip. Pelvic floor in TBA and lift the top knee. Lower. Check, you got the glute med doing the work here, not the hip flexors at the front. Tie in that TBA, pull in. Try and keep the control. So it's almost like 1, 2, 3, 4 up. 1, 2, 3, 4 down. Not too fast on these. One more, then we're going to squeeze and lift that knee as high as you can. And then extend. Oh, and bend. And extend. Try and get that foot back in that same position. Notice what your feet are doing. Are they your toes are curling and or are they your feet relaxed? There's a little bit of tension in the feet. A bit like if you were doing a squat and you'd be thinking about the arches. You'd be scrunching the toes just a little bit. As you extend, still connect with that TBA and that pelvic floor. One more, extend, hold. Keep it lifted, small circles. Back to these grapefruits. Really slowly working into this. I know it's actually quite hard. 4 one way. Try not to hold the breath. 4 the other. Really super slow. This is glute med strength. And one more. Then just hug that knee into the chest. Okay, so we're going to go onto our backs. And we're going to go for our standard set of 100. So let's warm up just with some toe taps. So find that right angle behind the knee. So perhaps put your feet down towards the end of the mat. Find the length at the back of the neck. Get your shoulders relaxed. Pelvic floor in TBA and check you're in neutral spine. Just lift one leg up to tabletop. Hands on hips and place it back down. Notice if as you swap over, if the hips are staying still. So just do a couple of little lifts and lower before we get going. And take that focus right to the hips, the pelvis. Notice even with the lower back, what's happening with the lower back is the lower back tilting side to side as you do your little toe taps. So really think pelvic floor TVA. Stabilize and get that lower back still. Check you're not holding your breath. When you're ready, then we're going to go 4 toe taps. If you want to tabletop it, you want to go straight in, off you go. Ready? 4 and 3 and 2. Keep those hips still. And 1. Lift the head and shoulders, look towards the knees. We're going to pulse the arms. Spread the fingers. Pull in that TBA. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slide the hands up towards the knees. Take 5 centimeters more. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Ready to go again. 4 toe taps. Progressing if you want onto your tabletops. Imprint a little bit harder on your tabletops to get your lower back down. 4 toe taps. 4, 3, and 2, and 1. Lift and pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5. Imprint. 4, 3, 2, 1. Straightening legs. Reach. 5 centimeters more. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Number 3 coming up. 4 toe taps. 4 and 3. Breathing out. And 2 and 1. Put in the TBA with your imprint. Lift and pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straighten legs. Reach. Reach a little bit more. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Number 4. 4 toe taps. Pelvic floor engaged. 4 and 3. Shoulders relaxed. 2 and 1. Lift and pulse. 8, 7. Stay strong in the wrist. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straightening the legs. Reach. A little bit more. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Last one. Reset. Last one. Imprint. 4 toe taps. 4, 3. Pull in the pelvic floor. 2, 1. Lift and pulse. Work that TBA. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stretching out those legs. Reach. A little bit more. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Take a full body stretch. Arms over your head. Stretch out your legs. Pressing everything down into the mat then. So the backs of the knees, the lower back, the shoulders, the scrunch up the fists, press them down into the mat, back of the head. See if you can press so hard into the mat you almost lift yourself up off it. Really pressing into the mat. Every part that's touching it. Big deep breath in. Breathing out, just letting go of all those muscles. Bending the knees then. Going to go for a heel slide. So bend the knees feet hip width apart. Slide one heel away, bringing it back up. Hands on hips. Slide one heel away, bring it back up. Notice if your hips are tilting side to side. So find pelvic floor, find the TVA. Just see now if you can keep those hips still. Into that slide. Adding in if you want them. Palms together. You can interlink the fingers like a prana mantra or gun, like a gun shape. And take that across to the bent knees. And lift the head and shoulders, bringing that across to the bent knees. And lift, tilt, recenter it. Just putting that nice little twist in. Still working with the pelvic floor. If you want a little bit more, you tabletop that move. You extend, you bring it across to that bent knee. Recenter, shoulder blades down. Breathe out, lift. You've got to work that imprint if you're on that tabletop. Breathing out. 4 more. Still thinking about your imprint, your TVA. Last one. Place the feet down, then arms up towards the ceiling. Palms facing each other, turn the palms outside. Lift the shoulders up off the mat. Turn them back round, press them down. And then again. It was smooth that time. Lift the hands up, shoulders off the mat, turn it back around, palms face each other, press the shoulders down. It's that nice shoulder release. Adding in then if you want, so take the arms over the head, circle that round the body, back towards the knees. So we take out the lift, turn the palms out, over the head, circle that around the body. Nice long out breath. So notice when the arms go over the head, what happens with the pelvis? Does it tilt there and you arch in your lower back? So just pull in pelvic floor, pull in TVA as the arms go over the head. Allow the upper body to stretch, keep the chest down. And try not to let the pelvis adjust for the tightness in the chest. Long out breath. Adding in into that one if you want. Up into your tabletops, double leg stretch it, so as your arms go over your head, straightening out your legs, circling that around. If that feels like a bit too much, you can always go for one leg. Same focus, pelvic floor TVA, noticing what's happening with the rib cage and the chest. 4 more. Try not to let the lower back arch. Breathing out. Last one. Bring the arms up to the sides, breathing out, let both knees drop across to one side. So it's that lower back release. Just going to adjust my camera so you can see a bit more of my mat. Yeah, a little bit. Like that. Breathing into center, breathing out over to the other side. You can take the eye gaze across to the other side as well. Just a lovely lower back stretch and release. Okay. Let's take a little hamstring stretch from there then. So one leg up towards the ceiling, holding either the hamstring or a little bit higher, whichever way you feel comfortable. Try and keep the back of the head, the shoulders down. Push away at the back of the knee. And just take a little circle here of the ankles. So a little circle, a little bit of a stretch with the ankles. Try not to tilt in the hips, so keep the hips nice and square. And then we're going to swap sides. So other leg up towards the ceiling. Push away at the back of the knee. Engage the hamstring. Try and keep the head, the shoulders relaxed. Take some little circles there on the feet. So we're going to do a little bit of work with the scissors, but I've got a different way in with this one today. So it's a little bit of what we did last week though. So opposite hand reaches up, opposite foot, and then recenter it. Opposite hand reaches opposite foot, recenter it. So we're doing a little bit of a crunch in here. And lift. So this is like a little bit of dynamic hamstring stretch. I think it was last week we were warming up and we were doing the standing upright. You want a little bit more. Take the arms over the head and then reach. A little bit more than that, straightening out the legs. So we're always getting a little bit more like full body reaching. Breathing out into those reaches. You can almost pin, you're pinning yourself to the corners of your mat. Reach so that you can get a little bit of a touch in the middle. Chin goes towards chest. 4 more. Just interlink your fingers, place them behind your head and just press the back, you press your elbows and your shoulder blades into the mat. So you get a little bit of a squeeze there on your shoulders. Really press it down into the mat. The fingers are interlinked. And we're just going to take a little cycle here, a little bite, right? So imprint, pull in pelvic floor, pull in TPE. If it's too much on an imprint, just take one leg on a cycle, right? So 1 leg cycle, this is a 1 leg cycle. If you're happy to go for a little bit more, both legs take a cycle. Just holding your breath. And you're always digging your heels, pushing your heels down into the air. Keep working with your imprint, pelvic floor into the in. Keep kind of really pressing your shoulder blades down into the mat. Back of the head into your hands. Chin is going towards your chest. So if you can go the other way around, so reverse your cycle. Reverse it. Breathing out. 2 more breaths. And release. Bring the heels a bit closer towards your bum. Just so that you can touch your heels, knees and feet hip width apart. Taking a pelvic tilt. So tap pelvic floor and tap TVA in. Slowly lifting up through the hips. Gently dropping it back down. Shoulders relaxed. And if you want a little bit more, pelvic tilt, lifting up the hips. That nice squeeze fit position from the knees down towards the chest. And like we did in the warm-up here then, so just interlink the fingers like we did in our high lunges. And see if you can really bring the hands together. Squeeze the shoulder blades underneath the body. Chin goes towards chest, you get this great stretch on the back of the neck. And just taking some deep breaths. Squeezing the glutes. Releasing the fingers in, vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly lowering yourself all the way back down. Hugging the knees towards the chest, a little bit of a rock or a circle. See if you can rock yourself all the way up to seated position. Oh, let's go. I'm okay for time. Oh yeah, I've got a few more minutes, okay. Sitting up there nice and tall. We'll do some hamstring work into some back plank work. So go back to what we were doing earlier. So interlink the fingers, push the palms away and lift that up over the head. It's always going to be harder in the seated position, right? Then bring the palms so they're facing you, bring it back down, all the way down towards your legs. Place your hands down by your hips, lifting up your hips. Bringing it back down, interlace, lift. And what you'll find there is your chest gets lifted, palms face, Bring it back down, space between your shoulders, and then lift. So that's the move I'm going to add in. Bring it down, interlace, lifting up, get nice and tall. That is hard. And then bringing it forwards, palms facing, lift, lifting up the hips, and then you can start adding in leg lift. Other side, leg lift. So maybe 4 on the leg lifts. It's all hamstring work, right? Bringing it down, interlace, press the palms away, stretch out the fingers, lift. Bring the palms facing, reach it forwards, hamstring stretch. Last one, lift. I can see I'm losing a few. People are getting tired, I can see them watching. Lift, and this is your last one, I promise. Lift. And lift. Last one. Interlink the fingers and lift. I know this feels really hard, but you haven't done it very much. But you will notice tomorrow the space between your shoulder blades. And reach. Facing this way, then cross the legs. Again, going back to something we did in the beginning, just go back to circling with the hips. So we were standing and we were doing some hip circles. So try that now in this seated position. Just to get like a little bit of space around in the hips. So circling around. And then the other way around. It's a bit like our porridge that we do sometimes. Going back to that mudra, that middle finger pressing into the thumb, placing that on your tops of your knees, and then taking some yogic breath. So breathing into the belly, up into the chest, get nice and tall, space in the body, and then just letting that breathe out. Breathe in through the belly, breathe in through the chest, take it as high as you can, lengthen through the spine, and exhale. Just 4 more, maybe closing your eyes, whatever feels right. Thinking about getting some space in the body. Gaining patience. Sitting still with things. And I'll finish there, so namaste.